When I mentioned she could pitch in with groceries since we shared the place, my girlfriend laughed mockingly. Be a real man. That's your responsibility, not mine. I simply agreed with a nod. A week passed, and she returned to find the fridge secured shut and shelves completely bare. All right, I need to jot this down somewhere because my friends are tired of the retelling. Yet they're the ones pushing me to share it online. Everything exploded over a missing dozen eggs, or more accurately, their absence. My former girlfriend, Valerie, and I had cohabited in my condo for just over 12 months. The setup seemed clear-cut, or so I believed. I run a modest yet thriving building firm. My days are long and demanding, but the income is solid. Valerie worked as a self-employed visual artist, which basically meant she owned a computer, carried lingering student debt from design school, and strongly disliked any fixed workday. Upon moving in, we discussed terms. I explained I'd gladly handle the financial load, paying rent, bills, vehicle loans. That's my nature. A guy looks after his household. In exchange, all I requested was that she oversee the home front, maintain tidiness, ensure meals were available, essentially act as a true teammate. She consented. She claimed to adore the concept of a contemporary yet classic partnership. The issue was Valerie's take on contemporary classic was strictly unidirectional. She embraced being an independent, empowered lady who refused male constraints unless it involved his bank account. Her go-to subject was systemic oppression and how it trapped females in household drudgery, often raised while lounging on the sofa browsing social feeds as I prepared supper after a 12-hour shift. She wielded equality arguments as a barrier against any duties, all while demanding I embody the ultimate old-school breadwinner. The double standard was palpable, like a dense fog. I tolerated it far beyond reason. Why? Because initially she differed. She appeared motivated, witty, and self-sufficient. The demanding, idle version emerged gradually, like a structure shifting unevenly. I convinced myself the original Valerie lingered beneath. I was mistaken. The tipping point arrived on a Thursday. I returned from a work site, grimy and drained, anticipating a warm dinner. I checked the refrigerator. It was desolate. A nearly spent ketchup bottle, one wilted lemon, and almond milk with mere drops remaining. Shelves mirrored the emptiness, featuring crumpled chips and a couple of bean tins. Valerie lounged in the den, focused on her supposed inspired venture, which resembled browsing e-commerce. Hi, I said, masking my fatigue. The house lacks any edibles. She barely glanced up from her screen. Yes, I planned to shop, but I entered a deep creative zone. You understand? No, I don't, I replied, my stored patience finally cracking. I know I sent the shopping funds to your account Monday, as always. It's Thursday, and nothing's here to consume. I've logged 70 hours this week, Val. The single request I have is returning to a prepared meal. She at last met my gaze, her expression dripping with that known condescending pity. Wow, she sneered. I'm not your mid-century spouse. Okay. I pursue my own goals, my own path. I'm not merely existing to cook and tidy for you. Nobody's demanding a spouse role. I countered, my tone escalating unavoidably. I'm requesting you fulfill our basic agreement. I fund it all. You keep the home operational. It's meant to be collaborative. And then she uttered it. The phrase that collapsed the flawed foundation. She rose, palms on her waist, glaring with raw scorn. Oh, apologies. Is supporting your girlfriend beyond your capacity? Act like a man, David. That's your duty, not mine. Silence enveloped everything. All the chatter, justifications, endless debates from the prior year halted. She had voiced the unspoken truth. She viewed me not as an equal, but as a utility. A mobile bank machine meant to finance her existence while she schooled me on my outdated duties. I refrained from shouting. No debate. I simply regarded her, this unfamiliar figure in my den, and a deep tranquility washed over me. I nodded. You're correct, I stated, my tone unnaturally steady. My error. I pivoted, entered the bedroom, and shut the door, leaving her there, arrogant and victorious. She believed she'd prevailed. She assumed she'd reminded me of my role. She was unaware I was preparing to impart a prolonged, thorough, and costly tutorial on the real definition of duty. Update 1. The following day, I skipped work. I informed Valerie I headed to a project across the state and would return late. She hardly acknowledged, immersed in her digital realm. Sure, enjoy, she muttered. My initial destination wasn't a project. It was a home improvement shop. I purchased a robust keyed latch and hinge for the refrigerator. I acquired fresh keyed locking handles for each cabinet and storage door in the cooking area. The total came to around $200. It ranked among my wisest investments. My next halt was the supermarket. I embarked on an epic buying expedition akin to film scenes. I selected premium ribeye cuts, fresh-caught salmon, organic produce, artisanal cheeses, specialty brews, a bottle of aged 25-year scotch reserved for milestones. I loaded 2 carts to the brim. The bill exceeded $1,000 for top-tier provisions. At the condo, I began installation. It required under 60 minutes to fit the new fittings. The fridge featured a sturdy metal hinge bolted in place with a solid padlock fastening the doors. Every cabinet, from dishware holders to the dry goods storage, now boasted gleaming new locks. Only I possessed the keys. Then I stored the purchases. I filled the fridge and shelves until overflowing. The cooking space resembled a luxury grocer, a haven of exquisite, tempting, and utterly unreachable meals. Once finished, I settled at the cooking table and composed a file. It was a financial plan, a precise breakdown of all costs in our joint existence. The lease, power, auto financing, coverage, food, her media subscriptions. At the base, I listed the total monthly expense for the routine she assumed. Beside it, her input. Nothing. I placed the plan on the cooking table, pocketed my fresh keys, and departed. I passed the remainder of the day at my workshop, accomplishing actual tasks, sensing unburdened and sharper than in ages. I arrived home near 8 that evening. The apartment scene matched my predictions. Valerie stood centrally in the cooking area, her expression pure wrath, flanked by her 2 closest allies, equally self-absorbed and unhelpful women named Chloe and Jessica, who gawked at the secured shelves in stunned horror. "What is this?" Valerie yelled upon my entry. "What have you done to my cooking space?" "My cooking space," I rectified, calmly placing my tool bag down, "and I've merely protected my property." "You attached a padlock to the refrigerator," she wailed, her pitch reaching inhuman levels. "This is madness, this is controlling." I approached the cooking table and lifted the plan I'd left. "This," I said, displaying it, "is a financial outline. It details the household operation costs. And this," I indicated the secured shelves, "is what the payer enjoys." I retrieved my keys, opened the storage, and removed pasta and premium tomato sauce. I unlocked the fridge and grabbed ground beef. "But what do I eat?" she demanded, her tone blending fury and real bewildered fear. I eyed her, then her allies, who stared as if I'd sprouted another limb. I offered a courteous, vacant grin. "Yesterday, you provided a crystal-clear role outline. I told Valerie you stated my duty as a man is to provide. You're accurate, providing is my role, so I've supplied this for myself. Your role, as a capable, self-reliant, contemporary lady, uninterested in mid-century duties, is to sustain yourself. So begin." I faced away and prepared my meal, their stammering, furious outbursts the finest enhancement imaginable. Update 2: the household conflict that ensued was spectacular. Valerie and her allies, after roughly an hour of futile yelling and a botched effort to force the fridge lock with a hairpin, withdrew to the den for strategy. Their genius tactic emerged as a massive online defamation drive. Valerie uploaded an extended, emotional social post, featuring a moody grayscale image of the locked refrigerator. She described her economically controlling and domineering partner, allegedly attempting to famish her. Chloe and Jessica reposted promptly, appending notes on my harmful dominance and insecure masculinity. They expected public shaming to force compliance. They anticipated their digital crowd to denounce me. They misjudged their opponent entirely. My followers numbered a few hundred, mainly trade colleagues, customers, and relatives, unaffected by emotional posts. As they waged virtual battles, I advanced in the physical. The subsequent morning, with Valerie asleep, I escalated. I confiscated her vehicle keys. Her stylish compact SUV was financed, like her lifestyle, under my name. I was the main signer. She was merely listed as driver. I transported it to my owned locked garage across town and stored it in a vacant bay. Then I contacted the finance firm. I clarified my status as primary holder and revoked the now ex's authorization. I noted the car was safe and inquired about delivery preferences. Back home, I persisted in deconstructing her cushy setup. I terminated her additional charge card. I updated logins for joint video, streaming, and shopping services. I even phoned her upscale fitness center, which I funded, and ended her access. She arose near midday to discover her vehicle missing and a short, civil message on the cooking table. Since our relationship has ended, I've arranged return of the financed vehicle in my name. As a former associate, I recommend securing other transport. Regards, David. The ensuing breakdown was epic. The shouts, tears, claims. It echoed the prior evening, magnified immensely. Her allies returned, not aiding but amplifying her grievance as a supportive ensemble. I returned from work to find them in the den, amid pricey raw fish delivery boxes. They'd chosen a unity meal. They scowled as I entered. I remained silent. I accessed my secured cooking area, selected a thick steak, potatoes, and greens. I ignited the outdoor grill and cooked a triumphant scented dish. I consumed it at the eating table, quietly, as they observed with loathing and, gratifyingly, emerging appetite. The concluding stage of my residence strategy was removal. I had my attorney prepare a binding, ironclad eviction notice granting 30 days to leave my condo. I didn't post it. I engaged a professional server. He arrived the next day with Chloe and Jessica present, and delivered the documents before her allies. The embarrassment was a minor delight. The ensuing 30 days served as a gradual, arduous tutorial for Valerie on practicality. She lacked transport, funds, and soon shelter. Her allies, eager for online fury, grew unavailable for actual aid. Chloe cited pet allergies. Jessica claimed limited space. Her folks, with whom ties were tense, were final option. They permitted return to her old room, reluctantly. They insisted her easy days ended. She'd need steady employment and contribute rent. Final update, it's been 12 months. I'm in my condo's den. A now serene, orderly, solely mine domain. Wall decor is my selection. Fridge contents are my purchases. It's tranquil. The separation from Valerie, actually the removal as we weren't wed, was uneventful. She vacated after 30 days, leaving disarray. She contested some furnishings, but my proofs for each negated her. Her path, per mutual contacts, involves tough realities. She remains with parents. She liquidated luxury attire and accessories for a deposit on her own. Far modest unit, shared with 2 others. She serves coffee at a cafe, a role she loathes. Her artistic visions are paused, indefinitely, by bill obligations. Her online profile has faded. The chic, effortless persona yielded to a sour woman sharing indirect jabs at disloyalty and harmful males. Her followers, missing lifestyle inspiration, departed. I encountered her once, months back, at a eatery with associates. She was serving. Upon spotting me, she blanched. She spoke to her supervisor and vanished backstage, replaced by another. My associates remained oblivious. My retribution wasn't a dramatic peak. It was deliberate, systematic, and pragmatically harsh. I avoided outbursts. I honored her words. She sought modern independence. I eliminated barriers, specifically my full monetary and effective backing, blocking her progress. She demanded I act manly? I did. I sustained myself, safeguarded belongings, and fortified my space. I merely excluded her from that space, and that evidently teaches accountability no ideology can match.